What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Hopefully you've had a chance to see Venom Let There Be Carnage out now in theaters. If you haven't, major spoiler warning. We're going to break down the entire post-credit scene. Don't worry about it. Go watch it. We'll be here after you do. If you haven't, this is your chance to leave, but we're going to explain everything that happened in the Venom post-credit scene, how the multiverse collided, what point in time he joined the MCU, how the connection to Tom Holland has been established, and that very important dialogue before the multiverse shift even happened, where he mentioned the symbiote hive mind that now takes that character and ties him directly to the events in the upcoming Thor Love and Thunder, with Gore the God Butcher tied all the way back to the origin of the symbiote with Knull. We're covering it all. This was a super packed post-credit scene in ways some of you guys may not have noticed, and because, very understandably, Tom Holland and Tom Hardy are now set to collide, perhaps in the MCU sooner than you think, which we'll talk about for Spider-Man No Way Home. There is so much to unpack in the post-credit scene for Venom Let There Be Carnage. We're going to break it all down, but first, if you could, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content here at the channel, and that's all I do. Everything from the official breakdowns, Easter eggs, videos like this, all the way to the anonymous 4chan plot leaks. We cover it all. So if that sort of thing's for you, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button, leaving a comment down below. If you do, that automatically enters you to win the giveaways, which there are many, and if you want, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all that giveaway stuff again there. Okay, we're breaking down everything, and there is a lot in the Venom post-credit scene. It opens with Venom and Eddie watching a telenovela that's a Latin America soap opera, making Venom say, "I love this show," but the protagonist's feelings aren't being validated, to which Eddie says he never should have kept such an insane secret, which obviously is tongue-in-cheek because Eddie Brock walks around with Venom as his insane secret, to which Venom replies, "We all have a past." Eddie wants to know if he's keeping things from him now, and Venom says that 80 billion years of hive knowledge across universes would actually blow up Eddie's small little brain. Important distinction, light years is actually a measure of distance and not time, meaning this isn't 80 billion years of history accrued and then crammed into a head. This is 80 billion years shared in real time across universes. Presumably that means the multiverse. And when he offers to show Eddie just a sliver of that, and Eddie says he's ready, then all of a sudden there's a multiverse blip that has nothing to do with Venom. I got a lot of DMs asking me if Venom somehow traveled the multiverse. Absolutely not. That's the first thing he does. He exclaims that it wasn't him. It was just a synchronicitous moment where he was going to show Eddie a bit of the hive knowledge, and then the multiverse blipped. Now in that moment, instead of the TV displaying the telenovela, it's actually displaying an exclusive report from J. Jonah Jameson. It says exclusive on the television. It shows a picture of Tom Holland Spider-Man with the mask off. In the background it says Pen 1, which is the Pennsylvania station, the same place he was in the post-credit scene from Far From Home, and presumably where we'll see him again at certain points during No Way Home, given the trailer showing us the same thing. Important to point out that during the post-credit scene from Far From Home and No Way Home, he's had his mask on. And that's, well, you know, they have to take the mask off here to show us which Spider-Man it is, because if it's not Tom Holland Spider-Man, then the great reveal doesn't have the same sort of poignance. That's why I feel like they did that. They could have just obviously replayed the Far From Home footage. That would have worked best. Also, this doesn't have to be the exact same moment in reveal, but the fact that it's an exclusive pins Venom coming to the MCU right around the same time as Spider-Man's reveal as Peter Parker. Now, you then see Eddie Brock turn into Venom, and he exclaims, "That guy," with a pause in the middle, and then licks Tom Holland's picture on the screen. And while at first I thought that was just really bad writing, actually makes perfect sense in the context of the scene. He just explained to Eddie 80 billion years of hive consciousness, meaning anytime a Venom symbiote has run into a Peter Parker, has run into a Spider-Man, he has access to that memory. That's why he's recognizing him and saying that guy. He doesn't quite know Tom Holland's version, but he knows a Peter Parker. He knows a Spider-Man when he sees it from his previous experiences as Venom with Spider-Man. Yep, that's absolutely right. Topher Grace's iteration and any other time that it's really happened in the multiverse. Speaking of which, something happens during this scene that triggers his arrival to the MCU with the multiverse, and I think there's two clear explainers which we're going to get to, but can we for a second take another look at the IMAX trailer of the scene, knowing now that Tom Hardy's Venom gets into the MCU, making his inclusion in No Way Home possible. I know people are saying this is the lizard, but look at the anatomy and and the shoulders and the arm that just so clearly looks like Venom. We know he's in the MCU now, making his timetable absolutely possible to be included and be who's in this scene. And that's what I think leads us to what our two clear answers are for possibilities as to how this happened. The first of which could have easily been what we saw during Loki with He Who Remains outside the window. We saw the multiverse breaking and branching into one another. That has to have consequences and could be responsible for this. However, I'm suspecting Kang the villain to keep going. We already know he's going to show up in Antman and Quantumania. We also know that he's going to probably show up in Loki season 2 and maybe even be the first foe of the Fantastic Four. I'm not suspecting his story to continue here in this moment during Spider-Man No Way Home. More likely the case, I think it's the spell that we saw during the trailer, and how I think this works temporally is that the trailer was made to mislead us, making us think that it was around some Halloween decorations months after this reveal that makes him go to Doctor Strange and ask for help in the first place. But I think, quite honestly, it could be one of the very first things that Peter Parker does, meaning that his reveal could happen on, say, one day, and then the next day or day after he's had time to be interrogated by the police and sees what sort of heck this is causing, even in the same week when that story could still be hot. That's when he goes to Doctor Strange. That's when the spell goes awry and all of a sudden transports all of these ancillary characters that have anything to do with him into the multiverse. And because of that, I think that there's a little bit of misleading in the trailer to make us understand how the timetable goes in the movie. But I think it's more likely that culprit, only because I think it doesn't want to connect to the King story in the way that that villain is going to take precedence in other films. Very clearly in this film, it's going to be other and old Sony Spider-Man villains. They don't have room or time to bring Kang into this either way. The major payoff here is the formation of a Sinister Six from the multiverse to cross over against Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland's live-action Spider-Man iteration. That's what they're going for. No inclusion of Kang. Maybe a post-credit scene, but not in the film. And hey, seriously, if he's not in the film, he'd be the only one, right? Now, the mention of the hive knowledge or the hive mind for the symbiotes is an enormous Easter egg, especially for a different upcoming property in Thor, Love and Thunder, and we're going to get to that in just a sec. The origins for the symbiotes in the comics has been something that's been an absolute mess. It starts with the evil deity Knull. He creates the first symbiote, but the how, the when, the where has been a huge point of contention, continually retconned, and while they do have a version I think that they've all settled on now, the All Black is the first sort of symbiote creation in the formation of a sword that eventually ends up with Gore the God Butcher, which we will see in an upcoming Thor Love and Thunder. And that's why this works so well for not only Sony now getting Spider-Man in their universe, or getting Venom rather in the MCU, but for getting the MCU now having their symbiote, having it all work together so that they can feature this in the upcoming Love and Thunder, as they're going to need to. That's going to be the origin. And presumably, if we're going to see the origin of the All Black and how it bonded with Gore the God Butcher, we're going to get to meet Knull when he's finally slain in a battle against some golden gods in the upcoming film, which would be the origin of the symbiotes. And now that we have a symbiote in the MCU, it's all come together and perfectly. Actually, also probably a great time to mention that a couple of episodes back on What If, we heard the Collector mention that Hela's sword is a Necroswrod. The All Black is a Necroswrod. That ties directly to the symbiotes. Again, the imagery that we know is going to come up in the Thor Love and Thunder film. It ties over to Odin and Thor, and always has. It's a part of Hela's origin. It's a part of the symbiote origin. And now that they've got it clearly in the MCU, this hive knowledge they've referenced makes a lot of sense and opens them up to sort of explain this. Man, they are so lucky they had the multiverse on the hip to go to try to retcon this and bring it all together. And when I say lucky, I mean Sony, because this is really the only way that them coming together with the MCU after all that's happened was going to make any sense at all. But guys, let me know down in the comments, first of all, do you agree with me? It just makes too much sense for them now to put Venom in No Way Home, and that's probably him in that scene, and why would you not? Also, what do you think of this now that Tom Hardy and Tom Holland will eventually cross over? What does this mean for the rest of Sony's Venomverse? When will we see those characters find Spider-Man? Will Spider-Man be a part of Craven's movie? And which Spider-Man will it be? Let me know all your thoughts, reaction, comments down below. Quickly, let's jump into the giveaway stuff again before I let you go. So really, all you have to do is hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below, because it's truly random. The more videos you do that, the better chance you have of winning. We're still giving away 2 PlayStation 5s, one of which next week the other one when we hit 900,000 subscribers, which I guess should happen by the end of October. Either way, if you want to be entered to win, that's all you got to do. Comment. The more videos you comment on, better chance you have of winning as long as you're a subscriber. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell, with specifically all notifications turned on. YouTube's been a little weird with their notifications recently. Nothing I can do about that, but hit all notifications on. And of course, if you like today's video, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. My name's Michael Roman. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at IamFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes, wherever you listen to original music under the name All Fires. And I'd sincerely appreciate it if you check that out. Thanks for checking out everything always, guys. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.